Goodwill is what's called an intangible asset. Okay, when I help doctors sell their clinics, yeah, their book of business is worth something, but then their name on top is worth something else. And their name on top is not a tangible thing. How much is a name? So that's what's called goodwill. What is the goodwill in the marketplace for that name? There's value to that. Basically, your reputation on that name. Same thing with you as an individual. Your reputation is built around what goodwill you bring to others. What value can you bring to others? That's your goodwill, your intangible asset. When you compromise on something that you know you can gain long-term, or you can feel you can gain long-term, use that opportunity to step back. Don't draw the hard line and build that goodwill, because you never know what that'll lead to. You never know who that person that you're giving the goodwill to, who they know, or what opportunities in the future they can bring to you. Again, there are times when you got to draw the line. Like if you don't think you're ever going to do business with this person again, don't care what they think, you went through the deal, he's a bad individual, bad character, bad values, draw the hard line, because you don't want to deal with them anyways. Draw the hard line. But in cases where, hey, there's a situation where I can benefit in the future perhaps, take a small hit. That's a goodwill hit. It's not a negative against you. It's not a personal evaluation of you. None of that. It's just, hey, take a hit for goodwill. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Yun Nguyen, known by my family and friends as the Ninja or Prolific Ninja. And because my fans are my friends, you can call me Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the Alpha to the Omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, motivation, drive, success, self-fulfillment, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Episode 101. We are officially above triple digits, man. I'm excited. 2 years straight of releasing podcasts. Just astounded by the growth in our number of subscribers and followers. We hit 1,000 on YouTube not too long ago, coincidingly with our 100th episode. But then we've got, tens and tens of other thousands across all platforms. So I want to start this episode as I start my day. And if you're new to the podcast, I start my day when I wake up with just a message of gratefulness to God, the universe, for another day, another opportunity to make an impact and do something to inspire others. So with that, I want to thank you all for liking, following, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all of that. Thank you so much. And then also, I do this show on my own dime, on my own time. I spend my own money. There's a whole team, a production team here that works on every episode, all the reels, all the content. And so we do this show, or we grow this show by a value exchange. So if you like something on here, learn something, found something humorous in this episode or any other episode, feel like you could share it, or somebody else, one of your family or friends or colleagues could use some of the information I share, please do share the show. I like to say, if you're knowledge swole, share the show. That is how we grow. Back in the studio, man. Just spent 3 days or a week in Lake Tahoe snowboarding, back at it. A little bit worse for wear, a little bit bruised up, took a few falls, little spells, but that's part of it, man. But feeling fantastic. If my voice is a little raspy, that's probably why. Going from that cold climate down to this cold, humid climate in Houston. So forgive me for that. But in any case, this particular episode, I'm going to share a little story with you that's going to illustrate two things related to success, right? That is goodwill and path trajectory. Okay, goodwill and path trajectory. So in this particular story, I was reminded, in fact, yesterday, I've been with my business partner, Nata Rabi, who I interviewed. He's also the co-founder of Slapwoods, if you're familiar with that brand, in the law firm for 20 plus years. And I was reminded how we all began in another conversation, how it all started. And, this was back in 1999, 2000, 2001 timeframe. Newly minted lawyer, just finished medical school, finished law school, got my master's in finance, newly minted lawyer, got job offers for, 6 figures across multiple law firms, but turned them all down to open my own firm. So huge risk, not a lot of money. I just felt I had to do it myself, watching my parents grow their business to a multi-million-dollar business starting with zero, right, in their 40s. I was like, man, I just got to do this for myself. So in any case, newly minted lawyer, not a lot of money. His family at the time was in healthcare. They owned dialysis centers, home health care, medical supply. And so they were selling off their dialysis centers. And got a call. Say, hey, man, we're selling, are you Dr. Young? Yeah, we're selling off some medical centers. Can you come in and talk to me about writing up the transaction, helping us sell the deal? How'd you get my name? Well, I got your name from the guys we're selling it to. It was a bunch of kidney doctors, nephrologists in the area that I'd helped in the past. Okay, so I helped these doctors. They were going to buy my business partner's dialysis centers. My business partner calls me up out of the blue. And so we go do the deal, multi-million-dollar transaction, minted right out of law school, right? Helped them out. At this point in time in my career, I was in a small office, kind of on the outskirts of Houston, close to my home. Just a new environment, right out of law school, not a lot of money to buy the big, A-plus building with, the high rents and all that. So anyway, after we closed the deal, okay, this is the crux of the story. After we closed the deal, I submit an invoice on the transaction. Again, this was a multi-million-dollar sale of I want to say 6 dialysis centers. Multi-million-dollar sale. I already cut my rate short because I'm newly minted. Got to be competitive in the marketplace. So I think I submitted an invoice for like $12,000, $15,000. Say, hey, deal's done. You got paid. Here's $12,000, $15,000 invoice, whatever. I remember this vividly. And we're in the office, and Nader goes, hey man, will you take like $8,000? And that was a decision-making point, right? Right there, right then and there, $8,000. Now, the decision was I could have been a hard ass. I needed the money right out of law school, licensed, newly minted lawyer. I needed the money. So I could have drawn a hard line and said, nope, I invoice you, whatever, 12, 15 grand. You got to pay me 12 or 15 grand or we're going to have a problem. Or the second alternative would have been, well, let me read this guy, right? At that point, I didn't have leverage to negotiate because I needed the money. But at the same time, I knew his family were successful business people. His dad had run multiple businesses in healthcare for years, right? So knowing that, I could have just said, I'll take the $8,000 and create what's called Goodwill. So knowing me, if you're new to the show, I run a multi-million-dollar law firm, have multiple technology companies in healthcare, also launched a crypto token and a crypto utility blockchain project called Legacy X token, Legacy X, which is putting estates on the blockchain. But knowing what you know about me and where I am, what do you think I did? I took the Goodwill route. I didn't haggle over the invoice. I didn't, nah, man, can you take 10? I did all this work. Look at what I did for you. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have done the deal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All I said was, all right, man, $8,000 is cool. I'll take it. I give you this story because people ask me, how did it all start? And recently, not too long ago, I talked to Nader. Well, let me rewind a little bit. So after I took the discount on the invoice, right? Nader says, and they had a big office in the Galleria. Nader says, hey man, where are you officing right now? I mean, I got a small office on the west side. So why don't you come office in here? Nice office, like big space. It's gonna boost your corporate identity, your law firm identity. I said, how much is rent? He said, free. Okay, let's go. Moved offices. So I got out of that Goodwill, I got a free office in the heart of the Galleria, A-class building, perfect spot. I go there for a few more months. We talk. He's finishing law school. His dad and I get into, we're a good relationship now. And he says, man, have you ever thought about doing litigation, personal injury? I said, nope, never have, man. I'm a corporate healthcare guy, finance guy. Well, we should get into it. I said, know nothing about it. But if you think there's opportunity, with networks and where we are and so on. Let's go for it. Sure enough, we did. And here we are 20 plus years later, having helped thousands and thousands of clients change their lives, settled or litigated millions and millions and millions of dollars of injury cases. Big identity, regionally, if not nationwide, helping clients across the country. Big team. Again, this goes back to the goodwill. Do you think I would be where I am now had I been hard on that invoice and said, nope, this is the invoice. You owe me 15 grand. Knowing what I know, got free office space, and here we are 20 years later, millions of dollars made, thousands and thousands of clients helped. And I give you this story to illustrate two things, like I said at the start of the show, which is goodwill and path trajectory. Let's talk about goodwill real quick. You see, the goodwill was not haggling over the invoice. That's the illustration in this story. But goodwill overall, if you look at it from a pure finance perspective, on the balance sheet, goodwill is what's called an intangible asset. Okay, when I help doctors sell their clinics, yeah, their book of business is worth something, but then their name on top is worth something else. And their name on top is not a tangible thing. How much is a name? So that's what's called goodwill. What is the goodwill in the marketplace for that name? There's value to that. Basically, your reputation on that name. Same thing with you as an individual. Your reputation is built around what goodwill you bring to others. What value can you bring to others? That's your goodwill, your intangible asset. So when you go around building goodwill, what happens? People want to do business with you because they know you're somebody that, you draw the hard line on a lot of issues, but then they also know that you're a flexible person that'll work through problems or can problem solve and add benefit and not going to be a negative impact or a negative energy or negative vibe to the situation. So when you build goodwill, people want to do business with you. They want to come to you. It's like you're vibrating at a different level. So that $4,000, whatever, $7,000 difference back in 2020 is translated to millions of dollars earned and thousands of clients helped over 2 decades. You see how that is? So if you're ever in a situation where you have to make a decision on something you want to compromise, when you compromise on something that you know you can gain long-term or you can feel you can gain long-term, use that opportunity to step back. Don't draw the hard line and build that goodwill because you never know what that'll lead to. You never know who that person that you're giving the goodwill to, who they know, or what opportunities in the future they can bring to you. They're always going to be, hey, man, that guy, man, he took a discount on his invoice. I know I can work with him. He made money. We got a good deal. Let's bring back business to him again. That's how it works. That's how goodwill works. I'll give you another illustration. Anytime I go in a business meeting, whether I'm invited or I invite somebody else, well, it's obvious when I invite somebody else what I'm going to tell you, but if I'm invited to a meeting or whatever for lunch or dinner, doesn't matter. I'm going to be the first to offer to pay for the check. Hey, let me grab this one. No, I invited you. That's okay. You can get the next one. I always pay the bill because it pay the bill develops goodwill. Yeah, man, he didn't have to pay for the lunch, but he paid for it, dude. What a good guy. That's an easy case to build goodwill, right? So when you have an opportunity, now, again, there are times when you got to draw the line. Like if you don't think you're ever going to do business with this person again, don't care what they think, you went through the deal, he's a bad individual, bad character, bad values, draw the hard line because you don't want to deal with them anyways. Draw the hard line. But in cases where, hey, there's a situation where I can benefit in the future perhaps, take a small hit. That's a goodwill hit. It's not a negative against you. It's not a personal evaluation of you. None of that. It's just, hey, take a hit for goodwill. But as I said before, that $4,000, whatever, $7,000 difference translated to millions of clients helped and thousands of clients helped and millions of dollars in revenue and settlements and all that. This goes to my second point, which is path trajectory. Path trajectory. A trajectory, if you don't know, which you should know, is if you're launching something or if you're on a path, the trajectory is the actual pathway, the launch of that. So think of like a rocket. You're going to launch a trajectory. You can go on a high arc or you can go on a low arc. You can go left, right, different angles. Same thing as a golf. If you're a golfer, if you've played golf, you know, how you adjust the club head is going to launch the ball in certain trajectories. If you've bowled before, how you bowl, how you spin the ball is going to affect the trajectory. The line you take when you line up the arrows on the lane, that's going to affect the trajectory. When you throw a ball, you know, you can sidearm, overhand, you know, have an angle onto it, put spin on the ball. That's all trajectory. Now, how does this apply to life? Every decision you make, as you make them, will launch your future pathway in a certain trajectory. Because time doesn't stop. So our life is constantly on a trajectory forward. Our path is constantly on a trajectory forward, right? So things you decide now, I think of it as in like golf, because like a fraction of a millimeter off when you make contact with a ball can put slice on it, can put a draw on it, can, you know, affect it by 10, 20, 50 yards down the fairway or wherever. So anytime there's like a critical decision you have to make or a critical action, it's going to affect the trajectory of your life, right? As you're younger, those trajectory, the result of those decisions are more exaggerated later because there's a longer flight path. So there's more time for the things to go offline, right? But the good news as you're younger is you have more opportunities to make decisions to pull the trajectory back into line. As you're older, the decisions don't matter as much because, you know, unfortunately, everybody dies, different times, but that trajectory is shorter, so the impact is less, but you don't have much time to make corrective action. And I say this to say that wherever you are in your path, wherever you are, what stage, what age of your life, think about what you're doing, the long-term consequences. Most people think about what I'm going to eat for lunch in 2 hours, right? And those micro decisions ends up in being a trajectory where it's just a low, flat, you don't really do much because you're just thinking about what's next. Long-term trajectory, the longer you can plan out your decisions, or the longer you can see the result of your decisions in your mind, in your imagination, in your visualization to actualize, right? The better off you're going to be. Your trajectory is going to be more solid, more, when you've bowled, like when you bowl and you release the ball and you look up and you strike right away. Or if you shoot a basketball, you release the ball, that goes on a trajectory. Like Steph Curry releases the ball, turns around because he knows it's going in. In golf, you make a putt, you don't even have to watch it go into the hole because you put it on the right path, the right trajectory. That's how you know you're in alignment with what your purpose in life is. Your path trajectory. So when you make these decisions on a constant daily basis, thinking long-term to your goal and what your path is, you'll feel that, hey, this is exactly what it is. You don't even have to look, much less think about it, because you'll know intuitively this is leading me to the right path. It's going to lead me right to where I want to be, right? So probably going to dig a little deeper into path trajectory in another episode, but this is a lot to digest. And I'm also going to trial next week, so I don't have much time here. But in any case, think about goodwill. I think about it on a daily basis. How can I develop goodwill? Goodwill can be simple as just, hey, calling somebody. Hey, man, checking in on you. Hadn't heard from you in a while. I got a text last night from the dude I've known since freaking first grade, kindergarten. We went to the same elementary school. He messaged me out of the blue. Hey, man, I just want to say you're awesome. You're doing great with your family. I'm proud of you. I appreciate you. I hadn't heard from him in like 2 or 3 years. Out of the blue. That's goodwill. Hadn't heard from him. Hey, I'm watching you. I'm proud of what you're doing, man. You're making me proud. I admire you. And what are we going to do? We're going to have lunch in like 2 weeks. That's goodwill. Of course, that lunch, as you heard earlier, I'm going to pay the bill, but that's goodwill. It's simple gestures like that. Making people feel good. Hey, man, he's good, easy guy to work with, easy girl to work with. Just a good person. That develops goodwill. So goodwill, path trajectory. The earlier you give out goodwill, the easier trajectory in your pathway is going to be. Your path trajectory is going to be. I promise you that. Glad to be back. A little stuffy, a little sore, bruised up from snowboarding, but glad to be back. We're in the triple digits now. Thank you again for, tens and thousands of followers and subscribers across all platforms. I'm going to close the show as I close my day. If you're new to the show, when I put my head down on my pillow, I always thank God and the universe for another day to have made, for the opportunity to have made an impact. Hopefully I have in this episode or any other episode. If I have for you, please do share the show. Comment, follow, subscribe. Please do share the show. I want to thank you all. They say it takes 400 episodes to get to a million views and subscribers. We're only at 101, so we're only getting started. We're only 20% there, but we're well on our way to growth. I want to thank you all for that. But if you're knowledge swole, share the show. That is how we grow, how we complete our mission, which is to inspire billions of lives across the planet, and people to live to their fullest controllable potential. So thank you very much. Be great today, but be even more grateful. Looking forward to bringing you episode 102 very, very soon.